So the other day I told y'all that I didn't purchase a Raptor R, that deal didn't go through. And I'm gonna talk to y'all about why there isn't a Raptor R sitting here in my garage. And it's not for the reasons that you think it is, okay? And anyway, so let me get here in the shop. Also this morning, getting my vehicles detailed. Probably once every 3 months. I keep them pretty clean, but this gets them really nice. They do a great job on these. Now let's go in here, let's get started, let's talk about this Raptor R. All right, y'all, today's video, we're gonna talk about why there's not a Raptor R in the garage, okay? I actually wanted to pick one of those up to do content for the channel and, you know, just get some stuff out on the Raptor R because I think it's an awesome truck. I really do. I think the 10-speed that it offers for better fuel economy, being able to put it in two-wheel drive, you know, there's some stuff on that Raptor, you know, it comes with the 37 package, so your tires, you know, all that's accurate. You know, when you put the 37s on it, you know, or you change tires, it's already set up for 37s. You know, there's just a lot of things that offers that the Ram does not. But on the flip side of that, the Ram RHO, which moving into the TRX, it's not even in the market yet, but it's going to come on 26, hands-free driving, massage seats. So there's some things that I really like about that vehicle. Digital rearview mirror, you know, that the other one does not offer, okay? Regardless, I got up pretty good mileage on this one. I got close to 18, I'm at 21,000 I think now. And at the time I was looking at about 18 on this one. So it's getting about time for me to do something with it, you know, because the TRX is looking like it's gonna be a few months out. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick up an R, we'll do some content on it, okay? Now, y'all know I can go purchase one of those if I want one, but I have some issues and, you know, I buy and sell vehicles. I'm not someone that pays MSRP. I really am not. Do I think the Raptor R is worth MSRP? I do. I drove one for a day. I got to spend a day with an R and it's an absolute blast to drive. The power, you know, just the way the truck handles, you know, I think the suspension is a little bit better than the Ram. You know, just there's a lot of things in that Raptor R. It's a really nice package. I think it's worth the MSRP. But one of the reasons I'm not sitting in it is because, you know, if I would have gotten offered one at MSRP, I probably would have purchased one to do content on. It would have to be a new one, okay? I'm not gonna buy a 1-year-old truck that's still going for 8 to 10,000 over MSRP because of this ADM markup, right? These dealer markups, and y'all, the dealer, I can't even blame the dealer or blame Ford for the markups, okay? You've got to blame the people, right, for paying it. And I'm not gonna be one of those people that's gonna inflate something or inflate the cost of it. Do I think the vehicle's worth MSRP? For sure. Am I gonna pay over for it? I am not gonna pay over for it. And the other thing is you look at it, it's a 24 model. So, you know, so it's like, okay, if I can't get a 25, most of 25s, they want a 20 to 30 ADM one. I'm not buying that, right? So then I was like, okay, let's look at a 24. Let's look at 10, 15,000 mile Raptor Rs in a 24. And I don't really want to go down to the 23 because they didn't have the heads-up display. There was some features that weren't in the 23. 24s and 25s got a little better refresh on the front bumper. They got, you know, a little bit of refresh on the technology. And so I'm more got to be in the 24, 25 range if I'm going to make the purchase, okay? And, you know, you start looking at those vehicles and, you know, you look around and most of the used ones that are 24s with 7 to 10,000 miles on them, those trucks are still selling for close to, let's just say 118 to about 122, which that's still over MSRP that truck originally was, okay? The problem for me is that truck is a 24, okay? Now, y'all know when I buy trucks, usually every year, I buy them at the end of the year, I buy the next year model, okay? And then I trade it in within that year because when a dealer takes that truck on trade, the resale is really good on it, okay? Because it's still considered a used vehicle, but it's a year or less than a year old. And so my concern is you know, you're sitting, let's just put an example. So I thought about this, it's like, okay, if I go buy this Raptor R and I pay 118 for it, that's all fine and great, and it's a 24. We're fixing to roll into 26, okay? So financing options, interest rates are not gonna be as good for the dealer to take that truck on trade and be able to resell that truck because it's gonna be 2 calendar years old because it's a 24. Not only that, you're gonna have a vehicle that's over $100,000. So that just, to me, gets to be a hard sell in a resale market. And when I'm looking around, and I know, like I said, it's a nice truck, but when I'm looking around, there's a lot of used ones sitting on the lot that have, you know, that are sitting over MSRP still, and they're not moving, okay? I think those days are coming to an end, all right? And I'm not gonna be the person that's holding a 24 that I paid over MSRP for, that was a year old, and then, okay, follow me on this, and then Ram comes out with a TRX. Let's say they come out at 850 or 750 horsepower, right? Let's just give an example. Let's stick with 750, right? Because they're gonna be above the R, we know that, okay? Ford's not gonna sit and not play the game. So then Ford's gonna have a Raptor that's gonna come out that's gonna be 850 or 900, whatever that number's gonna have to be to push the TRX out. I mean, y'all, we see this happen every year, right? And so it's just a horsepower game. And so the problem is then you're gonna be sitting in a 2 calendar year old vehicle that's gonna be a little harder to resell for anybody, and especially because it's a 100K truck, over a 100K truck. And then you turn around, and when this competition comes out and you have a higher TRX come out for a lower MSRP, it's gonna pull a lot of people in. Y'all, I don't know if y'all heard this, but the base TRX, we're looking at, I think 80s, mid 80s. If they do that, you get a 700 horsepower truck for mid 80s. What's that gonna do to the value of this truck, right, being where it is? I know some of you will say, well, it'll still hold its value. Okay, I can kind of agree with that a little bit. I'm 50-50 on that. But let's look down the road a little bit further, okay? Let's say mid-year 26, Ford's not just gonna let Ram have a higher horsepower number. Y'all know this, right? So then they're gonna come out let's say May, June of 2026. They'll come out with a flash or an update or something, right, for the new trucks. And that truck, let's say it goes to 850, 875 horsepower, okay? Now, you're in a 2-year-old truck, 2 calendar year old truck, right? As far as the banks are concerned. And you're gonna try to resell that truck when the TRX has more horsepower and the new Raptor R has more horsepower. And you're sitting in a truck that's a 100K truck plus, right? The value is gonna drop, okay? It is just gonna happen. And so as much as I want to have a Raptor R to do for the channel and to give y'all some content on it, and I think that truck is a great truck. I think if you can go get a new one at MSRP, I think that's a deal. I mean, I would probably have one sitting right behind me if I could have purchased a new one at MSRP, y'all. I called around multiple dealers. You know, everybody wants 15, 20, 25. You know, maybe even if you could have got like a 5K over, something like that. But I'm not mad at the dealers because I completely understand somebody's gonna walk in and purchase that truck and they'll pay the ADM. And so really, you know, everybody points the finger at the dealers. Well, it's the dealer's fault or it's Ford's fault. They should control that. It's the people's fault, right? I mean, I'm not gonna do it. And if everybody makes a decision and not do it, then they won't play the game. You know, just let them sit, you know? But I wanted to clarify because I did comment the other day for y'all and I've had a bunch of y'all message me like, what was wrong with the Raptor R? I think it's an awesome truck. I think today it's the best truck on the market because the TRX is not available today. So I think, you know, if that's what you want, that's what you want to go get. And if you want to pay that ADM, I mean, go for it, man. But for me, it's not going to work out, and I wish it would have, because I would have really enjoyed having that and getting to do some good content for y'all on it. But anyway, so not to make the video long and go on, you know, too much about it, but that's basically it. The only thing I hesitated was the ADM. I think that the Ram for me is the TRX, and y'all know this. That's where I'm going. You know, unless the Raptor R comes out with massage seats and they put Blue Cruise in it, which is Ford's hands-free driving, and they put me a digital rearview mirror on there, I probably would be going to a Ford, okay? But anyway, that's just where I'm at on it. Appreciate y'all watching the video. I hope it helped you a little bit if you're in the middle of making the decision. Like I said, again, this video was not docking the Raptor R because I think it's an awesome truck. And like I said, I'll say this again, today on the market, one of the best trucks. I think its second competitor is the RHO, just because you can go pick these trucks for 10 off of MSRP, you know, and in a top of the line RHO is an $83,000 truck. So you get a 540 horsepower truck and you're not getting that V8 horsepower, but you're getting all the features and all the amenities, and you get a pretty good truck. And I think the Raptor V6 is also still a really good option if you're not looking for the V8. And that's one thing, you know, I will say that the Raptor V6s seem to have held their value pretty decent. And so, you know, I wouldn't be afraid of purchasing a Raptor V6 today. I'm not sure the 37 package, you know, push them up to 95 is legit. And, you know, considering when you can get the RHO, it's almost 100 more horsepower for, you know, let's say 10 grand less. I mean, that's up to y'all on that deal. But anyway, hope the video helped you. If it did, please hit the like and subscribe. And appreciate you watching, and appreciate y'all subscribing. Catch you on the next one.